most courageous achievements in the history of sports. It's what the Bills are going to have to do. After an unbelievable day yesterday in Kansas City. If you did not stay up late last night, you missed an absolute classic. We've been on it all morning long. Let me show you some of the pictures from it here. It's Allen, it's Mahomes. Going to pick it up 3 minutes left in the half. Chiefs up 14-10. And Dan Xavier Worthy makes an incredible and maybe not actual catch.
It's also a remarkable throw by Patrick Mahomes to get this ball off. Worthy goes up and in many ways just rips the ball out of Bishop's hands. And somehow, I think that ball hits the ground, but it doesn't move. So they keep it as a catch.
And then what does Mahomes do down by the goal line? What does he always do?
Use his legs. He gets outside of the pocket. We saw this play early on in the drive. And again, Patrick Mahomes being that guy that goes above and beyond in the playoffs.
Chiefs up 21-10. Were they pulling away late in the half? How about this throw?
Yeah, this is sick. They go double team the outside, play one-on-one down the field. Matt Collins with a great contested catch versus McDuffie.
Went for two and didn't get it, so it's 21-16 now. James Cook.
That's a speed option, Dan. Like, you only do that with special quarterback and what a pitch and a finish by James Cook.
Again, they go for two and don't get it, so it's 22-21. Fourth quarter, Bills, fourth and inches. This is a very controversial moment in the game. I think all of us think Allen has the first down. They wind up overturning the call, Rex.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible call, but it's the mechanics that they got explained to me. You have one guy clearly had the thing spotted as a first down. The other official didn't. I don't understand.
Instead, back they go the other way. And D. Wood, what does Patrick Mahomes do? What he always does.
All right, he runs it in, like utilizing his legs. He makes the plays that are needed to be made.
Yeah, the sort of struggled with the spike there.
He sticks at something.
Chiefs up 7, but back comes Buffalo. This is a fourth down, RC.
This is a great play. Curtis Samuel climbs, gets to the back of the end zone, and Josh with a dot gets both feet.
Then the Bills need one big defensive play, and they get it on the sack.
Yeah, this is the moment where you sit there and go, this starts the unbelievable comeback. They finally are going to force a field goal. Buffalo's going to get the ball back. And this is what happens. In the most crucial play of the season, Steve Spagnuolo dials up the one-time cornerback blitz in this game. Buffalo doesn't get it protected. Josh is running for his life. Karlaftis does a great job of not driving him down into the ground for the flag. Dalton Kincaid tries to make a great catch. He doesn't.
Pretty simply put, he doesn't. The Bills turn it over on downs. The Chiefs were able to run out the clock just with a couple of first downs. They got one of them, and then here's the second. Samaje Perine.
A huge play.
But of course they're going to throw the ball with the season on the line to
Samaje Perine. And that's all she wrote. Quarterbacks. One goes on, one goes home.
Funny, dog.
It's not about one guy. It's not about a couple guys. It's about the whole entire team. And when we needed the defense to get stops, they got stops. Offense, we made plays. That's why we're so special, because it's a team effort and it's a team football game.
It's not fun. But to beat the champs, you gotta beat the champs, and we didn't do it tonight.
So similar to the look and the sound and the feel of Lamar Jackson last week. It's what Patrick Mahomes does to you. What did you react to when Patrick was saying what he was saying there? I heard you reacting. What were you reacting to what he said?
Well, look, all season long, I've been saying, this is not the same Chiefs, man. They're not this. They're not that. They're not this. The hell they're not. Yep. They're an unbelievable football team. And when he said it about, it's everybody. It's not just one guy, meaning himself. It's everybody. Offensive line got better. Vulnerable all season.
Yeah.
They played their asses off. You got, defense, same thing. Oh, hell, they're not as good. And all. Well, they showed up in the big moments. Special teams, the hidden yardage in this, they had a big plus in the game. And you know what? Let's say what we say. Andy Reid? No, he's right there with the greatest coaches of all time.
Yes,
why?
Sir.
His team is always prepared. Situational football. Like, they totally outcoached the Buffalo Bills in the critical moments right there.
They did.
All right? Any of the short yardage things, the rollouts, all those type of things. And here's what happens. Here's what the Chiefs never do. They never flinch. You know who flinched? Buffalo. Buffalo flinched. Their coaches flinched. The players, you got to catch the football. All right? He flinched.
Dalton Kincaid
flinches. This thing right here. This quarterback doesn't. This guy's a beast. All right? Nobody in the damn league makes that throw. He does. 4th and 5, whatever. Crazy. But that's what happens. You can't do it. And Josh would say, hey, you know, to beat the champs, you got to beat the champs. No, you got to knock the champs out. You got to take it from them, especially in their building. And take it out of the judge's scorecard. Means you got to be up 2 scores. They weren't.
D-Wood, you were on the Patriots in the early days of the. You have a sad look.
Why are you so sad?
Listen, man, I've been on both sides of this thing. I have. I've been on both sides of it. When I was with the Patriots, you know, one thing that Coach Belichick used to always say, do your job. That's what Patrick Mahomes was talking about on the field, post-game. As much as we try to heap praise on Patrick Mahomes, right, deservedly so, he's a great player. He's an all-time great player. But Patrick Mahomes is not in that position without Samaje Perine doing his job. You know, without, Smith-Schuster doing his job, Xavier Worthy doing his job, offensive linemen doing their job. It takes a collection of men on each and every play to go out there and do your job. That's why these teams come up short against the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Kansas City Chiefs understand that Patrick Mahomes can't do it all by himself. In order, if we're going to be a legendary, a dynasty, you don't become a dynasty without people, first of all, buying into the culture that you have set, buying into the specific role that your coach has for you. Everybody can't be a superstar. People got to have specific roles. They just do their roles better than everyone else in the league.
Can we put up A13, please? Because here's the conversation that has to be had. They have now won their last 17 consecutive one-score games, which is by a wide margin the all-time best. Dating back to last Christmas, a year ago Christmas, I would submit that they are 23-1 because one of those losses was the last week of the regular season this year, a game they did not try to win. They literally rested everybody. They have lost one game since a year ago Christmas. One of the games that included in this, of course, is the Super Bowl last year, and now they have a chance to win another one. We have to start having a conversation. As unspectacular as they've been all year long, this is one of the greatest teams of all time. What we are watching right now is one of the great. I'm not even talking about the dynasty. I'm talking about a stretch in which you win this many games in a row, no matter how you do it. It's ridiculous.
Everything we say about Bill Belichick, we have to say about Andy Reid. It is as well prepared, as well coached, and as well executing in situational football as a team that we've ever seen. And here's the thing. They treat every play like a championship play. They just don't know when it is. First quarter, 9 minutes ago, it's a championship play because they don't know when it's going to actually impact the outcome of the game. Third quarter, 3 minutes to go, they're going to treat it like a championship play because they don't know how it's going to actually impact the outcome of the game. Just go to the 2-point conversions. Mm-hmm. You don't know when they're actually going to impact the outcome of the game because they happened previously. I'll go to the quarterback sneak for Josh Allen. The play that Justin Reid makes is absolutely sensational, where he aligns to where he actually makes the play. He's outside of the tight end. Watch him on this play. He swims, dives down. He's the person that makes the first contact on Josh Allen. No 2-point conversion. That's a huge play, but it doesn't happen with the fourth quarter with 1 minute to go. This is the other 2-point conversion. They start with the man at the bottom of the screen. The motion comes down. They go in and out, and then the motion goes and they switch it again. Yep. Perfect. And backside, they zone it off perfectly, flawlessly. And they win the 2-point conversion in that play. Does it end up being the difference in the game? It does. Yeah. But it doesn't happen with 1 minute to go in the fourth quarter. Every play is a championship play for this organization.
Yeah, so in the first hour, I said winning is a habit, right? I said courage is a practice, and also, courage is an action and confidence is a practice. And what I mean by confidence is a practice is they've done that before, though. And they've done it in huge moments. The moment doesn't get too big for them. Yeah, it's the AFC Championship. It's a 2-point conversion. Oh, wait, I was in the Super Bowl last year, and I had to find a way to execute this. Oh, okay, Trent McDuffie, you're going to blitz here on 4th and 5. Oh, wait, I was in the Super Bowl last year against Brock Purdy, and I had to blitz. Justin Reid, I've been locked up against the best tight ends, against the best wide receivers. And across the board, this team has consistently been in these positions. And so now, when you get into those positions against teams that are trying to figure out if this is the year I can be good enough, you already know that you are. And the thing I listened to Patrick Mahomes he's not just talking about that specific game when he says it's more than just me. He realized he hadn't been his best self the entire season. But because of that team taking every play as a championship play, they got the best player in the world into the most important position this weekend. And again, he showed up.
You know what I see with this team? It's an organization that is a simple thing. You got to get better every day. They did organizationally. Smith-Schuster, he wasn't there. Hopkins, P. Ryan. They weren't even on these.
Justin Watson.
We get better.
Brown. Like all these guys. Like, yeah.
But also, too, all these dudes are there, and nobody's complaining because of culture and accountability. They're the most accountable football team in all of the NFL, and it shows on game day.
I would also argue the two teams that we're going to see play in the Super Bowl, you got evidence on tape. They're the teams that play with the best effort throughout the course of the game.
Yeah.
Philadelphia has played with the best effort throughout the course of the game more than anybody. Kansas City has played with the best effort throughout the game more than anybody.
And they have the two things you need to have a dynasty. The modern history of pro football, every dynasty has the coach and the quarterback. Lombardi and Starr, Nolan Bradshaw, Walsh and Montana, Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman, Bill and Brady, and now Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Those are the two components to this dynasty, which may be the best of them all. But they're going to have to get past these guys. The Eagles soar to the big dance. Can they finish the job this time in the Super Bowl rematch that everybody saw coming? We'll look into that next. Plus, the Buffalo Blues. Devastation again for Allen. We'll tell you why he is so close and yet still so far. All that on the way, rolling on a Monday. It's Get Up on ESPN. Game yesterday, NFC. We'll show you the pictures here in case you've missed it. The Commanders get the ball first. They have it for like 8 minutes. They kick a field goal. They kick it back to the Eagles. And this is Philly's first play.
60 to the house. Great block by A.J. Brown. Great block by Jordan Mailata. Horrific tackling by the Washington defense. This place had to be an absolute electric factory when this happened.
Meanwhile, the storyline of the game were the mistakes, the turnovers, RC, by the Commanders.
Too many turnovers. When your roster isn't as good as the other team, you can't turn the football over, give them extra opportunities. But Zach Bond made this play happen. It wasn't just on De'Ami Brown.
It sets up another Saquon Barkley touchdown to the Eagles, up 14-3.
Too good.
2 minutes to play in the half now. The Commanders down by 8. They're getting a kickoff here and another. Rex, I mean, they just handing them all these opportunities.
I mean, that's it. But that's what happens. And turnovers are so critical, especially in the playoffs.
Oh,
I mean, it's crazy.
And that would lead. Remember, we were talking about A.J. Brown. Was he going to get involved?
Great throw by Jalen, just playing on time. That's perfectly out in front versus man coverage.
Third quarter, D-Wood, one more huge mistake for the Commanders, this time Austin Eckler.
Oh, my God, man. I mean, listen.
Look at
Carter. Those things aren't just happen. Those things are, you do them repetitively in practice.
Tush push, gotten ahead of Frankie Louvu. Quite literally. I mean, it's a couple. That's not the same play.
I played with Troy. It's just part of the Polynesian culture.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
He did it twice. The referees actually announced that they could award a touchdown.
Greedy. I've coached for 100 years. I had no idea that was the rule.
They would figure out a 4th and 1, but we can award
There was no score anyway. I'd have just kept jumping. No time come off the clock.
Right.
Eagles
going.
Yeah.
Who gets credit for that?
On their way to the Super Bowl. So, and it would look, the Commanders had an unbelievable year. Jaden Daniels, incredible. There'll be better days for him. This was a day that belonged to the Eagles. And how would you like to have been in the offices of the Giants yesterday saying, but look, it says on this piece of paper, don't pay a running back that much money. It doesn't matter. You can't. I mean, after what Derrick Henry did this year and Josh Jacobs did this year, but now here's Saquon Barkley, who in the Super Bowl will, unless he doesn't run for 40-something yards, which is what he is short of it, he will wind up with more rushing yards than any player ever had in any season in football history, completely dominated this postseason, and is the biggest reason this Eagles team is in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, but I want to give Giants fans this reprieve. Saquon Barkley would not have been this good in New York.
Yeah.
Greeny, we talked about it in the first hour, and Woody said it's about the people that are up front. What happens with the Philadelphia Eagles is because of their quarterback, because of their offensive line, and the way this run game works, it gets Saquon Barkley to the second level. And I don't care what running back you like in the league, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, none of them are as talented as this dude. They don't have that type of acceleration. They don't have that type of side-to-side movement and lateral movement that Saquon Barkley has, and they don't have the home run speed. Bottom line, it wasn't Dion, it wasn't Peyton Manning, it hasn't been Reggie White. He's the biggest offseason move that's ever been made.
And add to this, he's the glue guy. I mean, that's the other part of it. That the only thing the Giants missed him in their locker room.
Did you see when Will Shipley scored?
He was
Saquon Barkley again. Put his helmet on and run on the field for the rook.
The offensive line makes the back. The back doesn't make the offensive line. It's another example of that. Him with an offensive line has become an unstoppable unit.
But you said it earlier, when your best player is also your best guy, your best team guy.
Rare.
This was an organization, this was a football team, Rex, that at the end of the last season gave up. They stopped pulling on the rope. Something terrible was going on, and the entire culture changed over the offseason. And I'm not saying Saquon Barkley is the sole reason, but he has to be part of the reason, right? I think that he made a difference in every way you can to an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. The two main differences, what I saw, right? Saquon Barkley, without question, all right? An amazing player, best player on your football team, best guy in your locker room and all that. Vic Fangio. When they brought Vic, look, they lost
another Howie Roseman move.
All the defensive coordinator that they had the last, they bring in some dude that never did it, and guess what? He was awful, had no response. They bring in this old guy. They bring in the old guy. Oh, he must have lost it. He does. The hell he doesn't. You know what it did? Accountability. He put in there, and you know what? We're going to run to the balls. Nobody plays with better fundamentals and technique than the Philadelphia Eagles, and the effort is crazy. Why? 11 guys going to the football, all right? Every single snap. Pursuit drill. That's every single play in practice. Trust me, this is a real football coach, and he's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
A huge difference.
This is the closest thing defense-wise to the Legion of Boom since the Legion of Boom, because they're not overly complicated. They're not going to confuse you like Kansas City does. They are a team that simply is going to line up. They're going to play with great technique, great fundamentals, great leverage, run to the ball. I also think it is important that we have to give credit to the way that the offense played. So these are these defensive clips that they're constantly running to the ball. You got to give Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown credit, because that's been a lot of the conversation, right? Can you complete the passes when the defenses are going to play in those one-on-one situations? Jalen Hurts did that.
Yep.
A.J. Brown did that. In the NFC Championship, you got to give him credit. RC, this is that fourth down. You motion him over. Defender runs. Automatically, I know, well, it's man-to-man coverage. You want to press. Now, watch A.J. at the line of scrimmage. Hezzy, swipe.
Cool, yeah.
Now, ball comes out of Jalen's hands. He's making the determination. Am I behind him because it's a back shoulder, or on top? Nope, I'm on top. Throw it to space. That's just like that Cleveland one you were talking about. It's perfect. Down on the goal line. This route at the bottom of the screen is ridiculous. Okay, here comes the motion. Defender runs with. It's man-to-man. Look at A.J. Sudden burst, freeze him, and then get out. Ball's coming out of his hands.
Yep.
Perfectly thrown. You got to take advantage of those one-on-one situations. Look at the space that it started to create and how soft that they started to play to A.J. Brown. There's a sprint out. He's 15 yards away from
easy.
him. And so I think with the NFC Championship, we also have to be very fair to Jalen Hurts saying, hey, they gave you the one-on-one because of Saquon, and you took advantage of it.
Absolutely.
And that's what you have to do.
And I think we were, not me, I think people were questioning.
Sure.
I think people were questioning that. And to me, I just look at the history of Jalen Hurts. He's had games where he's shown us time and time again that he can complete these passes. He does have the confidence to do it, the talent and the skill. And so now going into next week, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have a decision to make. Are we going to say Trent McDuffie is going to be you and A.J. Brown? Jalen Watson is going to be you and Devontae Smith. On the inside, Nick Bolton is going to be you and Dallas Goedert, because we have to stop Saquon Barkley in the run. And now Jalen Hurts, who we almost watched beat us before, you have to go do it after showing what he showed this week.
I tell you a thing that's crazy. And the reason we don't put Jalen Hurts up there, okay? I'm the same way, right? But I also warned everybody. I said, look, the less he throws, the better the team. The formula for the Eagles, this is a crazy stat, 725 rush attempts this year. 517 pass attempts. Oh, wait a second. We're in an era. We got to throw it all over the place.
We win.
Oh, yeah? You know what? We're going to win.
Yeah.
Our formula. We got a massive offensive line. We're going to lean on you. We're going to bloody your nose. We're going to be more physical. Jalen Hurts is terrific. By the way, he throws a deep ball about as good as anybody in the league. And why? You're getting those one-on-one coverages.
One last thing, too, and I've probably overlooked it. He has become a very good decision maker.
Yes.
Multiple times
Protecting the ball.
running away, throwing the ball away. Again, you have to laud him for that because it helps their team.
Quickly, we should say the name Howie Roseman. By the way, this offseason, they added Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond. They drafted Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, and he brought in Vic Fangio, plus Mekhi Becton. That might be the single best
last year with Jalen Carter.
Might be the single best offseason.
Howie Roseman, that guy.
My point is, in one offseason, he added all of that. That might be the best offseason any general manager has ever had. Coming up, Patrick the Great, victorious again. Dan and RC are going to the touch to show you exactly how the Chiefs did it. Plus, the opposite side, the equal opposite reaction, another excruciating loss for Josh Allen. How the actual heck the Superman overcomes something we've never seen before. Get to that next. It's Get Up on ESPN. In Kansas City, here's the radio.
Khalil Shakir in motion. Orbit motion. Now peels back to the left. Chiefs are chasing Josh Allen. He throws it up for grabs, and the pass is incomplete. Incomplete off the arm of the would-be receiver, Dalton Kincaid. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs. The Chiefs win the AFC Championship.
The dynasty is intact, and the band is back together again. RC and Dan with me here this morning, and so only appropriate that we do a touchscreen together. What have you cooked up for us today?
The two most important plays, the 4th and 5 stop, and then the Samaje Perine catch. This is why playing in Arrowhead matters so much. So I want everyone to pay attention to two things. Number one, Josh Allen, because they're on the road, is going to give that lead kick. That's an indicator I want to snap. And when he does that, pay attention to Connor and the backside safety, because you're trying to get indicators as a quarterback of what might happen. When he kicks, watch those two players. There's a little indicator right there. See how they just go back ever so slightly? He goes there, and he takes 2 or 3 steps back. I think as a quarterback, now you would love to, with that cut split, to say, okay, I got a press corner, I got a drifting safety, and a nickel that's getting depth. I might be getting that corner blitz.
Right, but watch what the Kansas City Chiefs do that sort of changes that look for Josh. When we get this motion, look at Kamari Connor. He's going to communicate as if he's saying, okay, combo, combo, combo.
Yeah.
So now to Josh Allen and also the wide receivers, you're expecting man coverage. And then Trent McDuffie, look at his movement. He's starting his movement not only off of the leg kick of Josh Allen, but the film study of knowing that once we see Khalil Shakir go in motion, we can get the play.
That's such a big deal. So as a quarterback, you're trying to get this information. For me, McDuffie peeking inside also indicates I don't really think he might be a blitzer. Oftentimes, as a quarterback, if I saw the defensive back just paying
attention, they overcompensate by trying to hide.
Exactly. So this is beautiful, and I love the point that you're making of watch how McDuffie times it. This is what RC's pointing at. When Shakir gets back there, that's the timing. The offensive line starts to go to the left.
Something off of the cut. We're going to get Brian Cook, who's going to push to the front side. He's going to take this low crosser because they're expecting mesh. And so when Kamari Connor pushes to the middle, that's how Dalton Kincaid gets open. If this blitz doesn't get there, this is a huge play for the Bills.
It's a beautifully timed, executed, and flawless blitz by Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense, and that's how they get to Josh Allen. Now let's go to the play to Samaje Perine. A couple things. Number one, the Chiefs 4-by-1. We've talked about it all season long that you want to get into these 4-by-1 formations. They set it into the boundary. Now they're going to flip it. Why do they flip it? Two things. Number one, I'm getting an indicator. As these two players run this way, so do the Buffalo Bills. I know as a quarterback, I've got man coverage.
And the other big thing for this game, too, was the Bills play more man-to-man than I'm used to seeing them play. So right now, they're going to understand understand when both of these players move over, both Johnson and DeMar Hamlin, that we're going to be man-to-man in the middle with Terrell Bernard on Samaje Perine.
And this is why you do all this motion and stuff. When they motion over, and as an offense, I know it's in man coverage, and the backers flip, that means Bernard, if the back leaks out to the left, he has him in man-to-man coverage. Everybody up top, you have one job. Run traffic. You want to run bodies towards Bernard, and you want to create all those picks.
And so here, this is the thing. Matt Milano and Bernard, they were playing in and out on Samaje Perine.
Exactly.
So that's going to make Bernard a little bit tighter, which makes it harder to get over. The other piece is, this is 3rd and 9, guys. They could just run this football, try to run the clock, and punt it, but they said they're going to go win it. And
see the traffic that Bernard has to get through. All these bodies that he has to try to navigate. Samaje Perine out in the flat, uncovered, one little hezzy, first down.
The other thing is, too, great job by the Kansas City Chiefs not having an obvious pick. Everyone avoided Terrell Bernard and made him run around.
Outstanding. And so what that does a great job of illustrating are the millions of tiny little things, moments that all of us, frankly, who didn't play the game or coach the game, wouldn't see and wouldn't pick up on that decide these things. And at the end of the day, that's why the Chiefs do this, right? D. Wood, you were there in New England with Belichick when he would say to everybody, just do your job. Just the one little tiny piece of this, that's you. And that's the difference. Because Allen and Mahomes have met 9 times. And in those 9 meetings, Mahomes' teams have outscored Allen's by a combined total of 5 points in 9 games. That's how close it is. That's why every single one of those makes the difference.
Yeah, like I said, we tend to heap praise on the quarterbacks and the plays that they made. But when you talk about a team game, you don't know when your number is going to be called. And these things aren't just happenstance. These things are repped in practice. These things are in walkthroughs, in the meetings. And so when your number is called, that's where the do your job comes in. Okay? When the moment of truth happens, you have to be able to execute in those situations. And we talk about, Kansas City and Buffalo. That's really different. It's not like Kansas City is more talented than the Buffalo Bills. It's about individuals when the play is called, when their time is called, are you able to execute in that moment? That's what the Chiefs do.
The thing I love about Andy Reid is he uses his entire roster. He's sitting back and saying, look, Perine might only had 3 or 4 plays up for that whole game.
But that play.
Well, guess, my number's coming. You don't think he's going to go like crazy in this? That's why this team plays the way they do. Smith-Schuster, here's a couple of plays. He shows up. All these guys in him how in the heck? He uses them all. He trusts his whole team. And you know what? They get great practice. And then when they get in the game, those guys are ready for their moment.
They never treat a play as too little, and they never treat a play as too big.
It's well said. And so the Chiefs go on. They will play Philadelphia. We will talk a little bit about the Super Bowl as we continue. But for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. We've talked this morning a good deal. Look, Jaden Daniels is going to have his day, right? One would assume. I guess you can't necessarily, you can't just immediately say he's going to. But he's got a lot of time ahead of him. For Josh Allen, this is excruciating. And you were telling me Saturday night, Teddy Bruschi said it, Bart Scott said it. It is harder to lose in a championship game even than it is to lose in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. And look, I lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Two of those 3 to Ryan. All right. Those things it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating because you're just short of what getting the Super Bowl, you ain't there. And you don't get a championship ring. You don't get an AFC or NFC championship ring. You get nothing. And that's the thing. And you're not on the biggest stage, man. Your whole life, man, I got to get to the Super Bowl. You never get there.
Yeah.
How people look at you is different. How different they would have looked at me had we got to one of them Super Bowls. All those type of things. And it is absolutely devastating. It really is.
I think the question you have to be asking yourself if you're Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills as a whole is, how do I continuously beat them in the regular season and never in the playoffs? Not just not beating them once or beating them twice. I never beat them. Yeah. Every time we meet in the playoffs, when it matters most, their quarterback makes the winning plays. Their team makes the winning plays. But in the regular season, we find ways to do it. What is giving the Kansas City Chiefs that little edge over Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills? And until they answer that question, this sort of heartache will continue.
Cindy, put up C11 because I have a full screen that makes exactly that point. They go head to head. They are dead even. No, this is not the one. I'm looking for C11. She'll get it up there in a second. All the numbers are equal, right? All the numbers are practically equal. But look at the top. The top one is the only one that matters. Mahomes beat him every single time. Do you know how many other quarterback pairings have been 4 versus 0 in NFL postseason history? None. That is the only instance of one quarterback beating another 4 times.
To, honestly, how good Josh Allen truly is, right? The sort of player, the sort of leader Josh Allen is. And then on the other side, it tells us how outer-worldly Patrick Mahomes is. Guys, and I know sometimes we try to, like you try to not be hyperbolic when speaking about a player. But what he's accomplished thus far in his career, we have never seen it. Tom Brady didn't do it. Joe Montana didn't do it. No one has ever been this good, this fast, this successful while having team success.
But you know what? Listen, and I agree with all of that. But I'm going to even take it, expand it out further. It just shows you the greatness of Andy Reid, the greatness of Steve Spagnuolo. You can't accomplish the things that the Kansas City Chiefs are accomplishing without a lot of people being at
My
the
only pushback.
Go ahead.
Big Red coached a long time, y'all.
Yeah.
And in Philadelphia, he got to 1 Super Bowl, got to 4 NFC championships. With the Chiefs, he had teams that were in the playoffs. I remember a tough loss to the Colts when they were up by a ton.
Once he got 15.
As great as Andy Reid is, until he got 15, he never won a ring. And now he's about to have an opportunity to three-peat and get 4.
Josh Allen is the most haunted quarterback in the history of the NFL for me. I mean, we're talking about a player that 2 or 3 plays go differently for him.
Different
He's not.
human.
He might be in an all-time greats conversation.
Right.
Let alone, and right now he's just he's a guy who's never won MVP. He's a really good player. He's a great player in some people's eyes. How does he get past this? Because if you had told the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott, hey, you're going to go to Arrowhead, you're going to score 29, you're not going to give the ball away, every person on the planet would say, bet them all. They're going to win the game. They did everything they possibly could in their eyes, I could imagine, to win the game. So how to get past that, I don't know. I would love to sit here and I know it's keep getting up and keep swinging. That's so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to sit there because you changed everything that you were about in the way that you played to do it this way, and it still wasn't enough.
But you know what? But y'all still pointed to that one drive that Josh.
Because that's the reality.
But see, that as players, that's what we tend to look at the end of the day. When we have that moment of just reflection, he's going to look at that.
The other part is this, though. There is no celebrating for any team in the AFC along the journey. People always tell you it's about the journey, not the destination. For Lamar Jackson, for Josh Allen, for Joe Burrow, it's all about the destination. Because you can have
the journey don't matter anymore.
You can have all of the regular season success that you want, but at some point, where you end up is not where 15 and the Kansas City Chiefs end up. There will be no celebration. There will be no game good enough until you beat this team.
No, they are Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, and Patrick Ewing, 3 all-time greats who had the misfortune of being at their best at the same time that Michael Jordan just wasn't going to get beat. And right now, that's who Patrick Mahomes is. As we continue, the Super Bowl stage is set. Eagles, Chiefs, part 2. Will Mahomes make history? Will the Eagles get their revenge? We'll answer that question, and we'll see if Rex can answer this one. Here we go. Hembo's putting you right in your milieu. By Rex's standards, this is a pretty contemporary question. Who was the only quarterback? So the last three-peat was the Packers. It's happened. It was just before the Super Bowl era. Bart Starr was the quarterback. Who was the only quarterback he beat twice during the Packers' three-peat in the playoffs? Who's the only quarterback he beat twice? The answer is next.
I mean, I don't know who was even alive then, so I can't.
Rex knows.
When bad allergies attack, trust Claritin to keep you in the game. Nothing has proven more powerful for continuous non-drowsy allergy relief. Live Claritin Clear.
I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the inventor of...
But there's nothing he knows more about, all kidding aside, than football history. We talk about it all the time. So Bart Starr three-peated. People talk about Mahomes. Bart Starr and the Packers did it. There's only one starting quarterback he beat in the playoffs twice during that three-peat. Who was that quarterback?
Right. Obviously, you had the Hall of Fame head coach of Vince Lombardi. You had two offensive linemen that were Hall of Famers, Forrest Gregg, Jerry Kramer. You had Bart Starr, the Hall of Famer. You had Taylor, Horning, Hall of Famers on defense.
Willie Davis, the whole
Willie Davis, Henry Jordan, and Ray Nitschke.
Who'd he beat?
So I know a little bit about this. Don Meredith, please stop. Give me a break. What is that, a softball? Is that a softball? Bam! Get out of here. By the way, Himbo, I know you're not here today, but you know what? I know you're watching from home. There's your seat. Boom! I own you still. I don't care if you run home, you hide in your house. It doesn't matter. I own you, my friend.
Dandy Don Meredith, who became famous on Monday Night Football. Yes.
Question about Don Meredith.
Sure.
Is he 47 in this picture? Why dudes back in the day used to look so old when they
didn't have enough lemon water.
He was the legend on Monday Night Football. He used to sing, "Turn out the lights, the party's over." All right, I'm old. Here we go. We go directly from that, the old-fangled, to the newfangled. Social media. Our first Explain Your Tweets with RC in far too long. Here's the first one. Here we go. Zach Bond is all the way like that. What a season for the backer. This is already a bad space for the Commanders. The exciting whites on the assist. RC, explain that tweet.
First off, Zach Bond was a relatively unknown coming into the season.
Yeah.
He just made hustle play after hustle play, big tackle after big tackle. This is a punch out, but Cooper DeJean running to the football. Reed Blankenship running to the football. Both of these dudes walked into the stadium one day with exciting white shirt on. And Zach Bond ain't that dark, so he's damn close too. This is a team that has played as hard as any team defensively the entire season. And because of guys like Zach Bond, because of guys like DeJean, and because of guys like Blankenship, they're in the Super Bowl.
Your friend Dominique calls me an ageless white. He says I don't look my age. All right, next. There will be a lot of legacy talk after this game, but it's all about Patrick Mahomes.
We got the wrong one.
We're on the wrong one? Oh, I'm sorry, we skipped one.
Yeah.
Here's the next one. Going to be a gang of gold jacket-wearing AFC quarterbacks from this era with no Super Bowl rings. Explain that tweet.
Joe Burrow looks like a guy that could be a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, all of these dudes will one day get gold jackets. And if something doesn't change, and I mean change extremely quickly, some of those guys are going to walk into the Hall of Fame and they're going to have bust, but they're not going to have Super Bowl rings. Patrick Mahomes is what you said. He's the Michael Jordan of this era. He's the guy that is the gatekeeper on the Super Bowl in the AFC. And until you find a way to knock him off, you can have all of the regular season accolades you want, but you won't get a championship.
Totally agree. All right, we do have the other one now, and it is this. There will be a lot of legacy talk after this game, but it's all about Patrick Mahomes. Josh takes no hit tonight. 15 is just different, man. He is. Josh gave Kincaid a chance on one of the most timely defensive calls I've ever seen. Nothing to hang his head about. Chiefs are dem ones.
They dem ones, Greeny. I know we're supposed to come in here and always be like the X's and O's, the X's and O's. Sometimes the dudes just go out and make plays. Sometimes the coaches just go out and call the right and the exact thing at the exact time. Xavier Worthy for much of the season wasn't a guy. He became a dude. Samaje Perine, we ain't seen him be a big-time player in forever. He makes a play. And then we see different things from Patrick Mahomes that, today I need to run it. Well, let's call it, Matt Nagy. Put the football in my hands and I'm going to win. I remember walking out of that place after they beat the Houston Texans, and I asked the Chiefs Kingdom, I said, y'all don't get tired of being here? They said, no, because we expect to be here every single year. There's a lot of teams that walk into camp and they don't believe they can win a Super Bowl. This team knows it every single year. And Greeny, as a Jets fan, you don't know what that's like.
No, I don't, but I do as I bring the guys in here. I do because I covered a team every single day that did it. I mean, the people who made and the man who made the three-peat a thing in our culture was Michael Jordan, and that's who this guy reminds me of. So, first impression of the Super Bowl. Cindy, D20 if you have it. Mahomes and Hurts going head-to-head in the Super Bowl for the third time. This is the fourth ever rematch. You see the others there, Eli and Brady, Troy and Kelly, Bradshaw and Staubach. Each of the previous three, the guy who won the first one also won the second one. So advantage Mahomes, at least as far as history is concerned. First blush, D. Wood. Eagles, Chiefs, who do you like? First blush.
I think if the Eagles play their best, both teams play their best, I think the Eagles are a better football team. That's what I think. But I'm not picking against the Chiefs. Not doing it.
I've picked against the Chiefs twice in my life.
Not doing it.
In that Super Bowl 2 years ago and this past weekend. It's hard for me to do it again.
Done, man.
Can the Chiefs, honestly, this game in many ways, can they stop Saquon? Can the defense stop Saquon? That gives them the chance. You know, on paper, you'd say no. But then you go, oh, well, they got Chris Jones, and they got McDuffie, and they got Bolton, they got Spags. They will find a way to make this game a fourth quarter game, and they will. Here's the thing. You know what? I got to stop being dumb. Dude, you got to go beat them. You got to go beat them. You got to go beat them.
What do you think, Rex? First blush.
Well, first thing I think of is not just Andy Reid. I think is Steve Spagnuolo. 20-4 in playoff games, with victories in the playoffs 4 times against Josh Allen, once against Lamar in Baltimore, who was an MVP.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady in an undefeated season. Brett Favre in Lambeau. That's what I think of.
Yeah, that's right. That's real.
Now, here's what else I think of. Vic Fangio might not be on that level, but he ain't far from it. So, to me, I think they close that gap a little bit.
Jeez.
I think they close the gap. Hell no, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes.
And I think,
I've learned my lesson too.
I feel like we've been here a ton of times with Patrick Mahomes, looking at the other team, whether it's the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and being like, really, I think the other team's better. But this team has Patrick Mahomes. I think the difference between this Kansas City Chiefs team, which we probably criticize more than others, is the other players around have stepped up in so many big moments. I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are the more explosive teams. I believe roster-wise on defense, they have the better roster. But by the time we have to pick on Friday before the game on NFL Live, I'm probably going to lean with Patrick Mahomes just because I've seen him and Andy Reid do it so many times. Think about how well this dude played the first time they met. Yeah. Nick Bolton made a play, scoop and score for a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes used his legs to make the final score. We've seen it before.
The game opened on ESPN Bet at Kansas City -2 for whatever that is worth. So and it'll probably move a little bit between now and then, but I think one would guess that's right around where it's going to wind up. We will see. Meanwhile, our next TGL match is tonight. Hey, Danny, on ESPN and ESPN Plus, Tiger is back. Tiger and Jupiter Lynx taking on Rory and Boston Common. There will not be a match that has better star power than this one. Coverage begins 6:30
I request
Eastern.
More trash talk.
Okay.
Please.
We will see if they give it to us. First take, meanwhile, we'll continue talking trash next. Will Mahomes catch Brady's rings? Will Saquon make the difference? Or was it just Washington's turnovers yesterday? Molly, Stephen A., Shannon, RC, Orlovsky, and more. The debate begins in 5 minutes here on ESPN.